وَلَا تَحْسُدَنَّ أَحَدًا عَلَى النِّعْمَةِ وَلَا تَذْكُرَنَّ أَحَدًا بِغِيبَةٍ. And don't be envious of someone because of a blessing that they have, and don't mention anyone behind their back. Don't be envious of anyone for a blessing that they have, and don't mention anyone behind their back. Don't talk ill of them behind their back. Okay? This thing is really challenging. لا تحسدن أحدا على النعمة. It's really challenging. Especially, again, in like a cultural environment where everyone's blessings are in your face all the time. One of the core qualities of Islamic civilization is sitr. Actually, the default is sitr. The default is sitr. The default is that something is hidden. It's not that it's exposed. I feel like the default in our civilization is it's exposed. Everything is exposed. Whether that's, you name it. Everything is exposed. And but the default in Muslim civilization was that everything will be hidden, unless it can't be hidden. And what that does is that makes it between the person and Allah, and it makes it also so that you prevent from all of this envy and all of these other kind of things. Imam Al Zarnuji, in his who's in seminary, took the first class of seminary. What did Imam Zarnuji say about eating out? Don't do it. Why? Because the eyes of the poor fall on the food, and they have despair that they can't eat what you are eating. So there's less barakah in your food. And he said it's aqrab ila najasa, which is, subhanAllah, it's as if he's speaking to us today. He said the food is aqrab ila najasa, and it has less barakah because the poor see what you have and they can't have it, and the despair enters their hearts. And the aqrab ila najasa means it's more likely to be impure. It's more likely to be tainted with some sort of impurity. It's so true. Like, if you really start thinking about it, you don't want to eat out anymore. Unless they're going to take you to a vegetarian restaurant or something. They said that more safe. Or if it's halal, obviously, But still, you have the second problem, which is people see it and they can't have it, and then we put it in front of people all the time. And so then you have this, like, having this envy for what other people have gets very, very difficult to not have that. But sitr is important. I believe that this issue is the answer actually to the question of why do we not see more talk about Muslim women scholars throughout history and all of these kind of things and so on. It's not because like it didn't exist or pious women didn't exist or something like that. Personally, I believe that women are more inclined to piety than men are. That's why you can shoot me for it online. Make me a, what do they call it? Compassionate imams. Imagine like imagine someone getting blamed for having the description of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Ajib. How twisted that whole thing is. But it's my opinion, whatever. So I believe it's actually a matter of sitr. Meaning, like Imam Al-Shafi'i said, radiyallahu anh, that if I could have taught all of this knowledge and people would benefit from it and they would forget where it came from, I would have been happy. That would have been what I would have preferred that. So if you're like a righteous woman and you're very knowledgeable and you can stay hidden, what are you going to do? You're going to stay hidden. And you can do that. And for men, it's a little bit harder because they had to play public roles and they had to do all of these things and they have to have jobs and a lot of it was actually related to that. Like there's a text on, there's a great essay, you can read it, called the Madrasa, I forget the exact second word. Maybe someone remembers it. Madrasa Curriculum in Context or something like that. Shaykh Hamza Karamati. Madrasa something in context. So basically it talks about the madrasa system and how it developed and why did it have like the emphasis that it had and so on. And a big part of it was that you're training people to graduate from a madrasa and serve public roles. They're going to work in the government, they're going to do different things, and those are generally positions that were held by men. It doesn't mean that there weren't women that were in other spaces that were teaching and stuff like that. And actually, when you dig in the biographies, you usually find it. You find like someone here or there, but they manage to stay hidden, and actually, that's a blessing for them. That the more reward they get, the reward is greater in the hereafter. They didn't lose their reward in the dunya by being recognized and getting praised and all of these kind of things. So, I know it's hard for us to understand. But just think about it, When you love someone, you want it to be between you and them. You don't want it to be about anyone else. So if you're seeking knowledge of the Prophet ﷺ, you're seeking knowledge of Allah, you're seeking knowledge of the Quran, teachings of Islam, so on and so forth. Why do you do it? You do it to know Allah, to serve Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala.